Have you been considering getting Oathsworn, or are you on the fence of maybe opening your own copy? I know I've been getting a lot of questions related to this game, and I thought, why not give some reasons as to whether this game might be for you or not for you? I'm going to dive into several different key points of the gameplay, give you some pros and cons. That way you can make a better decision of whether if getting Oathsworn is for you or if it's something you should skip. I know since this hit recently in the Board Game Geek Top 100, it's been getting a lot more buzz, and I think it is well deserved. But let's see if Oathsworn is for you. First, let's talk about the story of Oathsworn. Oathsworn takes place in a grim, dark fantasy setting where a parasitic forest is going to be overtaking the villages and towns and capitals of all of mankind as they try to beat back the vines and the wildlife that emerge from it. As a group of Oathsworn, you are set to basically protect the people and the kings from different types of monsters that might emerge from the Deepwood. To do so, you will take 21 different chapters through different types of storyline beats that you will progress through. The storyline for Oathsworn is a narrative campaign with some decision points that you will make throughout the story. You either progress down certain paths, and your decisions will have a minor impact on the progression of the game. But let's talk about that progression. Oathsworn might be considered an on-rails experience for some. There is always going to be the similar or same boss that you're going to fight at the end of each chapter. So whatever directions you take on your storyline decision paths will always still end in the same direction. The differences between the decision paths that you make are usually going to be in the form of tokens that you will use within the combat, so you can have defense tokens or reroll tokens of some sorts. You might meet some character, and the way you interact with that character might provide you some sort of ally or companion that you can use in conflicts or within the storyline itself. Or you might get yourself a keyword that might be relevant sometime down later in the campaign. If it asks you, if you have certain keyword, do this. But generally, the story is still going to take you to your same path. Some people might be okay with that. Some people might want a more free-form, sandbox-style story section. Looking at the gameplay aspects, Oathsworn will give players the option of taking on one of the 12 different playable characters, and it requires you to have at least 4 characters in each game. Luckily, there is a companion system as well, so if you would like to play with less than 4 players, or if you want to multi-play characters, you are able to play a companion version of a playable character without sacrificing too much of your tactical gameplay element. Combat is fluid and there is no turn orders in Oathsworn, so players are going to be encouraged and are definitely recommended to do where you're going to take actions directly after another while you still have abilities and actions to do. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, our little war bear, our Ursa bear here, decides to attack our opponent, our enemy boss that we're fighting, and he does less damage than we anticipated. Well, maybe I want to send my warden over here and do some damage after that before the werebear can make a further decision. There's a lot of impactful decisions that can come in based on what you're doing in the game. Being able to play your turns fluidly like this gives the players a lot more agency within their turns to accomplish the goal of beating the boss within its requirements. Within Oathsworn, there's also a combat card system, which is called the BattleFlow system. And the way this works is you're going to have your player board, and you have 4 sections of your player board, the north, south, east, and west locations of it, where you're going to play a card that has a specific type of cooldown into a section. So if it's a 3-level cooldown, it's going to go into your far east side of your player board, and it's going to have to rotate all the way around before it gets to the south, which is the 0 section, and returning back to your hand. So there are going to be moments in this game where you are not going to be having those cards in your hand, as you have to learn to battle flow them by using different types of tools such as tokens to move them, or cards to move them, or playing a card into the same row, which will battle flow all cards from one tier to the next section. This is the key component of the combat mechanisms, as it tries to replicate the flow and the fluidity of combat. But with the BattleFlow system and the way this works, while it is unique, it can become hard for some people to understand and effectively use this combat system, especially if someone's playing two characters. It can definitely become overwhelming at times and leave you with less options. Before every single fight, players are required to build their player deck. You're only required to take in so many cards. I believe it's 7 cards total that you can take into each conflict. Because of that, you might have cards that are more niche for a specific situation and might not work with what you're doing. So you're going to have to get comfortable with this BattleFlow system to make sure that your cards that are actively good are constantly flowing back into your hand and be available for use. Finally, Oathsworn does require 4 player characters, which can limit the potential player groups that you can play with. While this is a hard requirement, the companion forms of a character do make it much more manageable for single players to manage multiple different characters. I stress this because it is possible for some players to become overwhelmed by the total amount of choices that need to be done in a single fight. If Oathsworn is for you, if it sounds like this is a game that's fun, I highly recommend you seek it out. Find a way to pick it up. I know you can purchase it from Shadowborne's website. There are people who are selling their used copies who have finished the campaign online as well. I love this game. It has quickly found its way into my top 10. It's a game that I can't wait to dive into again once we finish our current campaign. Of course, I have to finish some other campaigns first before I go back into it, but I'm looking forward to the enjoyment of playing different types of characters, enjoying the different types of mechanisms that each character provides. My name is Brian. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video where we talk about Oathsworn and maybe help you guys decide if it's for you. If it is, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. My name is Brian, and I will talk to you very soon.